China was able to turn the corner and become the leading world superpower because they have a police state and they are able to force people to stop reproducing. Dr. Eric R. Pianka.
The eugenics movement has now shaken off much of its Nazi baggage and is using people's legitimate concern about the environment as a cloak to conceal their real agenda.
Let's not even add the conspiracy of the AIDS virus. An AIDS virus that is a classic disease that was created in Fort McKinley. A designer disease was created, 63,000 gallons of it in Fort McKinley, and designated for Africa and designated for other places in the world in order to meet what was called the UN World Health Organization mandate called Population 2000. How many people ever heard of that? Population 2000 was that by the year 2000, the UN World Health Organization had the mandate to bring the population of the world down by 36 million. To do what? To protect Western civilization, because the greatest threat to Western civilization at that time, in 1971, was the threat of overpopulation of India, Pakistan, Far East Asia, Africa, South America. Now, for Africa, they chose AIDS. For China, they chose one child for one family. And if you don't want to know what that means, somebody needs to visit China and understand what that means. One child per family, what that means. It means that anybody in China that has a second child, they are arrested, the woman has a hysterectomy, the man has a vasectomy, they are put in jail as an example, and that child that they had, the second one, the pregnancy, is aborted. One child. That's the law in China. Who made that law? The Chinese, through the World Health Organization. I don't have to tell the people from India and Pakistan about the birth control that they have adopted in India. I don't have to tell anybody about that. But the AIDS virus is killing right now. If you want to know, the AIDS virus is killing 8.7 million people per year. Now you add that up per month, or you add it up per week. 52 into 8 million. That'll tell you how many people a week are dying in Africa by the AIDS virus, which is a conspiracy. Go on the internet and put in your Google, into your search engine, put in there AIDS virus, and put in there smoking gun of AIDS, and see the evidence in the documents. You will be shocked. But most of us, we think that AIDS is in Africa because those are dirty people. They're sexually perversive. They're dirty people. Or we think it came from green monkeys. No, missionaries from the World Health Organization and Christian groups went into Africa and inoculated people for diphtheria, malaria, yellow fever, and they put in the medicine the AIDS virus. Now, is that diabolical or isn't it? Well, it's the truth. And the smoking gun of AIDS came out in 1996 because in America we have something called the Freedom of Information Act, which means every 25 years, what they do that we don't know about, they have to reveal it after 25 years. Now we know about it. This is what Khalid said, but people who study it know it very well.
You're watching UNICEF Television. On the eve of an 8-country polio vaccination campaign, coordinator Ali Bourema sets out to distribute vaccines to 9 villages on the islands of the Niger River. The river provides these villages with food for their families, but it can also isolate them from the benefits of modern medicine. Not today. Ali hires a canoe to reach this village 25 kilometers from the district center. He delivers vaccines for the children of several villages, and also a gas cylinder to power the refrigerators that will store the drug.
We have increased the number of doses by 5%, so you will have 2,880 doses. The vaccine is of good quality. Look, here's the date.
Ali is one of about 100 local facilitators who will join 226 vaccinator teams to ensure complete coverage of the Tillaberi district. Mahamadou Jinge is one of the traditional chiefs involved in the communication efforts.
The
Association of Traditional Leaders and UNICEF have concerted their efforts to support the vaccination campaign by raising awareness of its importance.
On the first day of the campaign, district officials gather in the village of Garbe Kuru on the mainland. Last year, 5 families in this village refused vaccination. Now, a government representative promotes immunization.
I use this opportunity to remind you how many scary illnesses have now become history. We had smallpox, we had sleeping sickness. And how were they all eradicated? They were eradicated thanks to the coordinated efforts of the health sector and preventative measures.
This 26-year-old mother needs no convincing. She went to school and knows about polio. The village of Sayani is where one of the 12 children who contracted polio in the country last year lives. 2-year-old Badamasi's parents missed the last immunization campaign. There are another 66,000 children under 5 in the district to be vaccinated, and more than 4 million in all of Niger. The campaign has only just begun. This is Elizabeth Keim reporting for UNICEF Television, Unite for Children.
This is the VOA Special English Health Report. 36 volunteers in South Africa will test the safety of an African-developed vaccine against HIV. The tests are the first step in human clinical trials of 2 vaccine candidates developed at the University of Cape Town. These experimental AIDS vaccines are the first from Africa to reach testing in people. The National Institutes of Health in the United States provided assistance. Testing with 12 people began earlier this year in Boston, Massachusetts. South Africa has more than 5 million people infected with HIV, the largest number of any country. South Africa officially launched the tests in July as the International AIDS Society held a conference in Cape Town. Other human trials of possible vaccines are taking place around the world. The research was done in Cameroon, Ivory Coast, South Africa, and Zambia. In one study, infected mothers began to take 3 anti-HIV drugs while breastfeeding for up to 6 months. In a second study, the babies were given medicine instead of their mothers. The babies received 1 drug every day during 6 months of breastfeeding. The researchers said both methods greatly reduced the risk of HIV infection. Laura Gay is Vice President of Research at the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation, which supported the research. Dr. Gay says the problem for HIV-infected mothers in sub-Saharan Africa is the limited availability of antiretroviral drugs. These suppress the virus. Dr. Gay said they know only about 33% of women are able to be part of programs that offer treatment to prevent mother-to-child transmission. So the first problem is how to reach all women who do not have access to a prevention program. In other new research, a study has found that circumcision does not decrease the risk that HIV-positive men will infect women. And that's the VOA Special English Health Report.
Something for my godson Elijah and a little girl named Corinne. Some say the blacker the better, the sweeter the juice. I say the darker the flesh and the deeper the roots. I give a holler to my sisters on welfare, Tupac kids, if don't nobody else care. And I know they like to beat you down.